Gang, what's up, family? Welcome back to another series episode video. I'm your girl Leo, and as always, it's such a pleasure to have you here. I'm just very grateful. And before we jump into that, I've been letting you know, and I want to keep letting you know, that if you didn't know, okay, Lleo The Llion Podcast will be rolling out again pretty soon here. Y'all, let me just tell you why it's taking a little bit of time, okay? I just moved. I think I already told you that. I just moved into my place, and I'm setting it up in a way so I have my studio, I have my workspace, and so I'm just trying to make sure I get my mic and everything that I need so that everything's right, okay? Because we need everything to be working properly so that these podcasts can be most effective for you, okay? So podcasts will be rolling out again pretty soon here within the month, okay? Look for it. I'm going to let you know exactly when. But aside from podcasts, like I said, it's such an honor. I was looking outside, y'all. I'm supposed to be performing tonight, but it's looking kind of cloudy. I don't know if it's going to rain. I don't want no rain on my fucking guitar, I'm going to be honest. But we're going to see what happens here. It's always an honor to have you here. Like I said, thank you for tuning in. Thank you so much. If you don't know who I am, my name is Leo. If you do know who I am, welcome back. And if this is your first time seeing me, make sure you like, subscribe, comment down below where you seeing me from, where you coming from, bro. Let's connect. I love to connect. So with all of that said, let's get into this topic. It's a juicy one for you guys. Today, I wanted to talk to you about checking your thoughts. Now, I'm looking down at my notes. I told you guys I've been organizing, so my notes were over there. Now they're down here, okay? So, checking your thoughts. This is so important, and I'm gonna okay, we're going in, all right? So, you guys, if you really think about it, okay, let's really take some time to think about it. So programming, right? We all know what programming is. These television, radio, all the things that we take in from our senses, our eyes, our nose, what we taste, what we feel, what we hear. I had stopped trying to think of all the senses. I'm so funny. All these things that we take in through our senses, and the world. Now I keep saying the world, but I'm gonna stick with the United States because that's where I was born and raised. This is what I know, okay? And I'm sure it's affecting the world also, but just to stay on the safe side, I'm gonna stay with what I know, which the United States. And there's a lot of things in the United States, we grew up with TV, we grew up with the radio, we grew up with all these things. And these are things that's been happening since before we were even born, right? They had TV, at least if I'm talking to my generation or younger, even older than me, honestly. There's things that have been programmed within our mind bodies before we were even born, while we were still in the womb. There's been research studies showing that, the infant or the fetus in the womb can still hear and sense what's going on outside of the womb, even though they can't see it. Even though some of the senses are blocked off, they still have, there's other senses that are still being at play and affecting. And the brain is developing already. It's taking in, it's like a sponge. It's taking in information and it's recording pretty much. So all these programming and stuff is happening while we're still in the womb, right? And let's even talk about before the womb. Let's talk about before we were born. Look at, and I love using this analogy, okay? Look at the story of Christopher Columbus. You know Christopher Columbus? You better know Christopher Columbus because I barely got through school and I know Christopher Columbus. I didn't give a shit about history and I know Christopher Columbus. So if you don't know Christopher, 'Christopher' Columbus, you're probably too young and you need to get off the line. if you do know Christopher Columbus, look at his story, right? The basics of his story is we came to America, this land was stolen, we killed, we murdered, we stole, we cheated, and we lied, right? Just to get this land because we felt like we deserved it. They felt like I'm saying we, and that's because I'm from America and I grew up in this land, I was stolen too, but not me personally, okay? I wasn't personally stolen, but history, okay? My history, my ancestors were stolen. And so we were raised in this land. So even though it wasn't like a willing participation, there's still participation. You have to accept all. So I'm saying we, but that's right, that's the history. So imagine if that's where the United States, if that's the foundation of this country, imagine the evolution of that, right? Of lying, stealing, cheating, death, grief, and pain, and problems, just manipulation. That's the foundation, that's the evolution. So of course, everything's not all fucking sweet cakes and awesomeness and what you're, what in your environment that you're surrounded in. And your environment plays such a huge role, okay? It's such a huge role in the development of your mind, especially as a child. Like I said, you're just observing and soaking in and recording all of this information. And then at a certain point, it becomes like, okay, this is what I know and this was what it is. And then your mind replays that, right? So we have the same thoughts over and over and over again. And so, literally, I want you to journal this down, okay? Just take a journal note and write this down in your journal. What are the thoughts that you're having every day? Positive thoughts, negative thoughts. What are they? Because you're going to find that most of the thoughts that you had, a lot of the thoughts that you had yesterday are the same thoughts you're thinking today, whatever the thoughts are. Some people, it's like, I hate myself, I don't understand why I can't communicate, I did this, I did that, whatever it is. I feel guilty because, or whatever your thoughts are. I gotta do this, I gotta hustle, I need to learn, I have to figure out how to turn a dime into $1. Whatever the thoughts are, Those are the same recurring thoughts that you're having every day. And so if that's what's happening, and we're always talking about changing your mindset, because the only way that you're going to evolve is through change, right? Because I said that this environment, you're born into it, but as you were born, I said this, I don't know if I said this the other day, or I said it this week sometime in a couple videos ago, but when you were born, you were not born as these roles of society. You were born as, your unique individual self. So who is that? And, who was that before you got into the society and all these roles that, changed, that shaped you to who you are now? And I'm telling you all this because we have to go deep into this before you understand changing your mind, checking your mind, because you need to understand, okay, if not all of my thoughts are my own, which not all your thoughts are your own, okay, some like I said, you got thoughts from the environment, you got thoughts from yourself, you got thoughts from all different kinds of fucking things, right? So if not all of your thoughts are your own, what are the thoughts that are daily, running through your mind daily? And then if you're trying to change and grow your mindset, what is it that you what is the vision that you want? What are you trying to change into? What are you trying to become? So, okay, I have to stop really quick and say this. When you're talking about your thoughts also, or when we're thinking about checking our thoughts, I'm getting hot, guys. Let me take this off. Whew. Okay, it's hot. Okay, so when we're checking our thoughts, it's important for you to think about where these thoughts came from also. And because understanding where they come from it's like doing some shadow work, which, you know, I have a whole podcast episode talking about shadow work. And shadow work is really good for like healing, healing that shame, grief, guilt, you know, because you got to understand where it's coming from first if you want to let it go. Because otherwise you're just carrying something that you don't even know what it is that you're carrying. Or if you do already know what it is that you're carrying, why? Why are you carrying it? Why do you feel like you have to carry it? So that was just a side note. But really quick, okay, so talking about changing your thoughts or checking your thoughts. So you want to pay attention to when you're trying to aim for a certain goal. Like, say, I can only use myself for example, right? So for me, my goal is to constantly be evolving my mind to a place that I've never been before. Okay, so when you're aiming for whatever goal it is for you, and you're checking your thoughts and you're letting go of, you have to be aware of, like, what are the thoughts that are no longer serving me? So, like, let's take that thought, have to turn this dime into $1. That's like a lack mental thought, right? If you don't have enough, but somehow you got to make this work, right? So you're trying to pinch pennies and figure it out, which, you know, is necessary. Sometimes it'll be like that. But then you want to think, okay, well, this is the thought that I'm having every day. And, this is what I was trying to get to. Let me just finish saying it. If this is the thought that I'm trying to get to every day, and this is like a reoccurring thought, and I'm still having the same thought, I'm not, like, how come I'm always trying to figure out how to turn a dime into $1? Why is it always this way? Well, this is what I was just going to get to. You have to check your thoughts, because the way that the universe works, the laws of the universe, I think this is part of the law of attraction. Whatever you're constantly thinking about, that's what you're attracting. And the more you talk about it, the more you think of it, the more you're attracting that thing. Because the way your brain works is it's very comfortable with what it knows. And anything outside of what it doesn't know is scary. And so your brain is like, okay, this is what we know. So we know we got to turn this dime into $1. We know that we've done it before and we can do it again. We're gonna constantly you're gonna constantly get in your own way of going from a level where you don't have to pinch a dime into $1, where you just have dollars, you know. I think I'm getting ahead of myself. You're trying to go from a state where you don't want to do that anymore, where you want to have an abundance of dollars, right? Well, but your mind knows that only thing. So if that's the only thing that you're thinking, you're not going to all of a sudden one day have, like, maybe it does happen where a lot of money falls into your plate and now you have an abundance of money, but because your mind is stuck in that, I have to turn this dime into $1, all that money that you have, you know, it's going to be temporary. It's going to go so fucking fast. And instead of changing your lifestyle, instead of being put in a position where now you can be able to thrive and actually afford, you know, and actually, you know, you don't have to worry and stress about penny pinching. You're going to blow all that money and then you're going to be stuck back in that mindset. How do I change this dime to $1? And this is important because it's all about mindset. So that's why you have to check those thoughts. So especially, like, okay, when you get into that position where you have a lot of money, right? and you want to feel like you're actually finally thriving instead of getting in your own way, because that's what's happening. You're getting in your own way because that's what your brain knows. Your brain is like, oh, we got all this money. We can get all the things that we want, but now we didn't create a plan so this lasts for a while. So, I feel like I'm rambling, so I'm gonna keep going. I hope that made sense to you, because it made sense to me. But so when you're doing that though, the more you give to yourself, the less. Wait, hold on. What am I talking about? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I was reading for something else. Okay. So the whole idea that I'm trying to give you here, my bad guys. So the whole idea that I'm trying to give you here is, and I'm sure that you've heard this before, paying attention to what wolf you're feeding. Are you paying more attention to your negative thoughts, or are you paying more attention to your positive thoughts? And which one's more occurring? Because whichever one you're feeding is the one that's going to keep occurring, right? So, and it's like that saying, I think it goes something like, I think it's like a child asks, it's like which wolf survives, the positive or the negative one? And then it's like, it's whichever one you feed. So off of that thought, it goes with your mindset. So whichever ones you're feeding is the one that's going to thrive. Now, this is important because when we put it in that perspective, look at it like this, because this is how it connected for me. You cannot entertain. Now, I'm saying, now this is like put in perspective spiritually. You cannot follow two gods. You can't follow God and money. I feel like, I don't remember if that was a Robert Kiyosaki. I don't even know if I'm saying his name right, if that was a reference from him or a different book, but it's a reference from a book. And you're not able to entertain God and money. You're not going to be able to place them both at the top, because you're going to end. Actually, I think this is from the Bible. My bad. This is from the Bible. Okay, you can't entertain both, because you're going to end up loving one and envying the other. Okay, so the way that works is like, if you love you have a love for your positive thoughts and you're thinking more abundantly, you're not gonna also love thinking negatively. Like, it just doesn't work out that way. Excuse me. But if you prioritize thinking negatively, and if you look for negative, when you see the positive, it's gonna look like sketchy or it's not what you're looking for. Okay? It just works out like that. So let me give you some tips really quick on how to, make sure you're checking your mind, checking your thoughts, right? So I said this earlier this week too in another video. When you're checking your thoughts, right, when they're going, you want to make sure that you take a pen. You can even you don't even have to do this throughout the day. Take 10-15 minutes to sit down with yourself and your pen and your paper, and then write down what are some of the thoughts that you're having in that moment. Okay, now what are you thinking about in that moment? Write them down, and then ask yourself the things that you wrote down, the thoughts that you wrote down that you're thinking, do they align with where I'm trying to go? So do they align with a higher mindset? Or do they align with my weight loss goals? Or do they align with whatever goals you have, which you should have already set your goals, right? And if they don't align with those goals, if they don't serve you, that's the whole thing. If they don't serve you at all, then you let that go, right? You have to let it go. And it's pretty much you're deciding that this doesn't serve me anymore. So when this thought pops up again, immediately I have to tell it no. And it's like disciplining yourself, right? So let's say the goal is, you want to stop thinking about penny pinching and you want to think in a more abundant way. And so first of all, that was the goal. Okay, so you're thinking about how am I going to pay my bill today, or how am I going to pay my bill this month? Instead of like worrying about it, because worrying doesn't get you anywhere, right? You want to change your thought to, and you can write this down too, what the thought is that you're having and what the thought is that you want to have, right? So you want to change your thought to something like, my bills are always paid, right? Because I know, and I'm saying this because I've been in this situation too where I was penny pinching, and that was always something I always found, like, I would be stressing about it, but my bills, like the basic bills, the most important ones, they will always get paid. So, and I'm saying this to people who have a hard time with saying things that they don't, they can't say things that aren't true. They have to be realistic with themselves. Well, you can be realistic with yourself and still find ways to change your thought patterns, okay? So for me, that looked like, instead of worrying about how I'm going to pay my bill this month, my bills are always paid. My bills are always paid. My bills are always paid. And then you want to say it 3 times, and you want to say it more than 3 times, actually, because the more you say it, the more you're going to believe it. And the more you believe it, the more it creates a feeling in your body, and that feeling is what you want. Okay? That's how you're attracting that into you got to feel it in your body. So my bills are always paid, right? They're always paid. Don't have to worry about it. They're always paid. So as you're going through your day, like let's say you're going through your day and something triggers your thought, oh man, how am I going to pay my phone bill? You thought it. That was the cue. How am I gonna pay my phone bill? I don't have to worry about that because my bills are always paid, right? And then immediately think about something else. Let them pass like clouds in the sky. What's the next thought, right? And then you're gonna do that as often as you have to, okay? Do that as often as you have to. That's how you check your thoughts. Now, so I'll give you another example, okay? For me, what happened, I think it was last weekend this happened. I was just chilling in bed and I had a thought come to my mind, and it was like, it was a thought, I can't remember what exactly the thought was. It was something about my ex, and it was like demeaning towards myself with my ex. I can't remember exactly what the thought was, and I apologize. But because I want to be completely authentic with you guys, but this is me being authentic right now, because I really don't remember what the thought is. But that was the thought, and it was a negative thought I had immediately. I questioned myself. Where did this come from? And as soon as I questioned that, I knew it had been triggered because of my ex. I don't know why that came up randomly, but it was a thought that I had with him. And then then I had to coach myself, and that's kind of what you're doing. So you're pretty much telling yourself, you're pretty much reassuring yourself, like, you're okay. And that's what I did. I had to reassure myself, I'm okay. I did nothing wrong. He did nothing wrong. Nobody's at fault. Okay, and this is actually like the way that I'm doing this. It was helpful because it helped me. I'm constantly trying to let go of this anger that I have towards him and towards being cheated. Okay, so having this thought process go this way helped me to do that. So it was nobody's at fault. I'm okay. I take responsibility for my action, and I can't blame him for his actions because that's just who he was. And I took the lesson from that. So, and then I took the lesson from my experience with him, which the lesson was, I have to learn how to put myself first instead of trying to please everybody else. So that was my personal lesson, right? So, and I wish I could explain this better for you, but in a way, taking the words I just said, you're taking the thought, and if it's the one that does not align with your goals and where you're trying to go, you're questioning it. Where did it come from and why? And once you get the answer, how can I change this? How can I evolve it to something else, right? And then you replace that thought with a new thought, right? So that's as simple as I can explain it to you. And I really hope that it makes sense because, I feel like maybe sometimes I think differently and I explain things differently, and maybe they don't completely always make sense to someone else, but I feel like it's going to make sense for somebody who's supposed to hear it. So that's all I have for you today. Let me just triple check here. Oh, yeah. So I guess I'll just conclude with, and I told you everything I told you. Pretty much, you hold your own power. So, even though we've been programmed since before we were born, right? Even though all these things, our external environment play a big, huge portion in the way that we are shaped into who we are now and the way our mind processes and all of these different things, even though they play a huge role, you are the only one that really has full control over yourself. I'm not talking about you as a child. I'm talking about you as a grown-ass adult now. Now you are able to make all the choices for yourself. And it's important that you do that. And I say that to say you can change your mind. You can change your thoughts at any time. You don't have to wait for certain things to get into place. You don't have to have, because I'm talking to my perfectionist right now. You don't have to have things in a certain way before you can change your mind. It literally takes you being active in your own self. You being active in your own energy. You being active with yourself. That's all it takes. So if you want to change your mind, and I'm not saying that you can change your mind in the blink of an eye, okay? Really think about this. If we've been programmed since before we were born, and let's say you're 26 years old right now, like I am, and you're now deciding that you want to change the way that you think, it's not going to happen tomorrow, okay? You can start right now. You can start changing your mind right now, but your mind isn't going to change tomorrow. And it's not going to change in a month from now. And it's not going to change in 3 months from now. I mean, there's going to be there's going to be a lot of change that happens within 3 months if you start right now, but everything's not going to change. So this is also being real with yourself. You're not going to completely change in 3 months, okay? It takes little steps and effort every day. And that's what I mean by you can change your mind right now. You can decide today that you're going to make steps and efforts every day to get yourself in a better position, to get yourself in a different position, to get yourself wherever it is that you're trying to get. So with all that being said, I am Leo. It's been a pleasure talking with you. Hey, if you are in a place where you're sick of being broke, busted, and disgusted, you are financially in a rough place, and you are mentally not good with yourself, you need some help with your mindset and how to evolve your mindset, drop in the comments down below more, and I will reach out to you on ways that you can, for your future, how you can build a brighter, better future for yourself, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. So, and all of these things are so important. So, once again, it's been a pleasure. And until next time, guys, bye.